This is my E46. It is not much of one, but it's an E46. I got this shell given to me by a guy in Ottawa. Now, I had a shell before that was JZ swapped, and it was really fucking rough. So this one here is surprisingly really clean. This is just a lot of parts from my previous shell on it. I will be putting the JZ in this one, and we're actually going to be doing a proper series about it this time. Now, currently this car has no motor. Currently this car also has no interior. It still has some of the stock interior wiring and most of the engine bay wiring. I'm actually going to try and keep a few things working this time, such as the fuel level sensor, RPM gauge. You know, I've got a few tricks up my sleeve to try and get that stuff to work. Now, if I can do all that, I'll be very happy. As for now, I'm going to start. I've got to do some coolant line deletes and some vacuum line deleting on the 1J. Other than that, I'm going to prep it, basically fix up the oil pan a bit since it got dented last year. You know, a few things here and there. We'll be doing a lot of, you know, subframe stuff and notching, reinforcing, such as the front subframe, especially on this car. The rear one, maybe some reinforcements and some new bushings. You know, basically install all my goodies on this car, weld the diff, do a lot of work in all honesty, and hopefully get out and drifting by the middle of the summer. We're hoping for between 5 to 10 good episodes. So stay tuned and keep watching.
Like the attention, girl, I know you. But you're everything I want in life. We're fighting danger like Kung Fu. The love I feel is deep inside. The others don't matter. It's honestly us against the world. We're the perfect team. You're my dream, and I just want it.
Alright guys, so we're out here. We just tried to test out the new vlogging cam. That didn't work worth a shit. So anyways, I'm gonna get some work done on the 1J E46. You know, hopefully get it running in the next month or so. We got to do some subframe work. You know, subframe on subframe on subframe on subframe, 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 subframe on subframe on subframe on subframe. So we're gonna figure all that shit out. It is currently got no motor in it. However, she's all stripped out. So it's ready to be worked on. Interior is primarily back together. I put my wheel back in it, my racing seat, you know, gonna try and make some of the cluster work this time. Gonna keep a lot of the OEM parts in. I'm actually not gonna play with the stock harness much this time. The guy that I got the car from wanted to make a drift car out of it, so he already fucked around with the wires for the ignition switch. So basically it's still gonna run off a switch panel like I was going to, since the BMW like EWS shit would have stopped me from using much of that anyways. Other than that, the car's gonna go back together fairly easily, honestly. The body's all together, mostly like suspension stuff, the engine back in, but everything's nice and clean and solid. So that's that. So we're gonna keep trying to get some shots of stuff as we continue to do things. I'm gonna mainly tonight, I'm gonna try and work on getting this subframe apart, subframe on subframe on subframe on subframe. Then probably tomorrow night, take this diff, put it in that subframe, subframe on subframe on subframe on subframe. Take off the two trailing arms since one of them is cut. I think it's on that subframe. No, it's this subframe that one's cut. So no, they don't have the right hubs and bearings. Lots of complicated shit. Don't remember what's what. So anyways, gonna change some parts around, get the right parts on the right subframe, and then get that back in the car, and you know, hopefully get the car back out drifting in the next month or so. Gonna go see what Sean's up to.
What's up?
What's up?
Not much.
Hey, there's a motor in this thing.
Fuck yeah, there is. Fuck yeah, there is.
You should definitely do your Nicolas Cage impersonation.
Let's go! No, that's what he
Yes.
says, something like that, but yeah.
Good enough.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
I've been trying to do fucking video for the past 2 days and I'm just like, I gotta work.
so
I
no
can't-
motivation.
No. Yeah, not motivated, but I gotta fucking film and I gotta work and I can't do both at the same time. I can, but then it makes like stupid gay ass time lapses and
Well, yeah, we gotta get on some of that.
I'm not
time-lapse
about
shit.
that, so
We're gonna have to do some time lapse stuff, I think, though.
yeah.
Probably.
I should have put a GoPro right there.
Right there.
Right there and be like,
So, Sean, I'm not gonna show too much of his stuff since he just got a lot of stuff done, and I'm sure he's gonna want to put that in his build video, not mine. So, yeah.
well, my video's probably gonna be off for yours anyway.
More than likely. Well, I don't know. Might be just like a little intro to what's going on. This thing's looking sad over here. The engine's mostly stripped down. Gonna drain the oil out of it as soon as I get the front subframe all apart. And going to flip it around, notch the subframe so it all fits. But we had a bit of an issue last year with clearance. So at the same time, we actually dented the front of the oil pan in, which we had to do. But like, that's fine. But there was a little bit of a clearance in it, the issue, and it actually like rubbed through, like barely at all, but through the subframe. Not through the subframe, through the oil pan with the subframe. Subframe on subframe on subframe on subframe. So yeah, gonna have to patch that. The pan's fine. It just needs a little bit of a spot of weld, and then it should be good to go. Other than that, I think we're gonna get to work on some stuff. So let's see what's going on. Alright guys, so subframe's all apart now. This is gonna have to be cleaned up. I'm gonna put my proper rev shift mounts on it, and we're gonna drain the oil out of the JZ, flip it upside down, put my homemade mounts on the JZ. Then we gotta figure out where it's gotta be notched. It's gotta be notched in here about halfway across and down, and about an inch down, and should be good. And then I gotta basically reinforce it, and should be good to go. I had done it kind of ghetto on the other one and never reinforced it. This one I'm gonna do proper. So that's why I have a brand new subframe for that. So let's get to it. Alright, so just want to show everyone kind of what's going on here. So before, like in the winter, whenever we were bringing the car here, Sean was jacking on the subframe in the front, told him not to, and it slipped off, and while the jack kind of landed on the oil pan. So I'm gonna have to take that off, make sure that it didn't bend the sump, which I'm sure everything will be okay, but I'll still unbend that back out a bit. Now, if you look right here, let's see. Focus. Anyways, right there you can see that there is some damage. That's where the subframe touched, and a little bit over there too. So gonna make sure that there's no actual leaks, and if there is any actual leaks, going to, I guess, weld them. I don't really trust JB welds, so I'm gonna weld them up and get everything good to go. Then the engine will be pretty well good to go back in. Besides that, you know, we're gonna clean it up, make sure everything's good, not leaking, and should be good to go back in. What's up, guys? Alright, so a little warm out here tonight. Did a lot of grinding. Anyways, so we've got this set up right now. It's temporary. It's gonna need a little more finessing and cutting, but she's all tight and not touching anywhere. I need to gain a little more clearance here, bring this down more, because when I take the dent out of the oil pan, it's gonna be against it. So I need to get a little bit, about a 1/4 inch more. So when I reinforce it, I've got the room to reinforce it too. On the back side, it's a little tight, so I'm gonna have to, you know, do a little bit more clearance, but otherwise it's all bolted down, you know. And no, I don't have solid mounts. They are poly, so there's a little bit of room. So basically I need to make sure that I've got enough for a little bit of movement in my mounts, because the movement will wear my oil pan through like it did last year. So everything seems to be looking good. Once the pan's fixed, it's gonna be easy to reinforce the subframe, and I think that's pretty good. So don't forget to share this video, like and subscribe, and keep watching for more of this build.